I'm joined by a panel of experts, and today we're going to discuss accounting mobility and integrating devices into the workplace. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. You're all very welcome.
Morning.
I want to discuss employee mobility. A lot of employees are out on the road doing business, and it's important that they're able to access information from the workplace, files from the workplace, and this is normally done through these portable devices. And as technology gets more and more advanced, these devices become more and more mobile. In saying this, we have to consider security implications for employees accessing these and the cost for businesses to install checks and balances for these mobile devices. Florian, can you tell me what sort of software is there right now to help businesses keep checks and balances on these mobile devices?
Yeah, I'm sure. Thanks. I mean, yeah, of course, the the usage of mobile devices has been growing over the last 10 years. You know, if you look at the cost of a laptop, we see the cost has gone down over the last 20, 50 years, and now we see the consumerization of IT, so like iPad, iPhones, and Symbian phone, and so on and so forth, or Windows mobile devices. So, I mean, we've seen a technology that has emerged over the last 14 years or so, is the SSL VPN technology that allows you to basically provide secure remote access for all of these different types of mobile devices, whether having a client installed on the device or for non-managed devices, you know, providing like a web-based access to critical business application from an internet kiosk or a home PC and that sort of stuff.
Can you talk about the cost implications for SMEs? I mean, is it quite expensive to install these checks and balances?
Sure. Yeah. So cost is one major factor while rolling out these mobility solutions. So what we are seeing earlier, the devices were at a tier 1 level, but now we are seeing the device cost itself has come down with newer and newer devices being introduced by, for example, Motorola has introduced devices which are very specific to the Asian market and the Middle East market, right? So that has brought down the cost. And on the security side, the cost concerns, I don't think so. The cost is a major hindrance when you compare with the data security, which is most important for an organization, right? And there are a number of ways to do that: two-factor authentication, token ring support, as well as SSL, as he had said. So cost, what we are seeing is, though the SMEs will not go and do a full-fledged deployment of firewalls and all, but they go for two-factor authentication, which is not much expensive, and they go step by step as and when the penetration is more and more wider, and that's how they are doing it.
Tarek, from Motorola, can you tell us a little bit more about the devices that are out there right now that employees are using?
Right. Well, devices can broadly be classified into devices for white-collar workers and devices for blue-collar workers. So for the white-collar workers, we have a class of devices, what we call enterprise digital assistants, which are sleek in form factor, they are pocketable, they are good to look at, they are sophisticated. And then we have got a whole range of rugged devices, which are typically used by employees who work in more difficult environments like warehouses or delivery truck drivers and so on. And within that, again, there is a range of form factors available, like we have devices of the brick form factor, or we have devices in the gun form factor. And the selection of the form factor or the shape of the device would really depend on the application that is being used. So typically, for example, in a warehouse where there is intensive scanning to be done, scanning of barcodes, we would use a gun form factor device because that's more comfortable for the user.
These mobile devices, are they as secure as perhaps technology within the office? I mean, are these mobile devices prone to viruses, prone to hacking?
In theory, yes. But practically what we see is that most of the virus attacks occur on desktops or on laptop computers. Mobile devices really don't have that much of virus attacks. They can be made extremely secure because today on a mobile device, just like a desktop, you can install a firewall, you can install an antivirus software, and almost every mobile device today is capable of doing VPN. So you can create a secure tunnel into a VPN concentrator, and they are all capable of doing high-level encryption like AES 128. So the packets that are being transferred wirelessly are extremely secure.
Yeah, what are the regional challenges? I mean, in this region, is this something that's been embraced?
I think the whole idea of mobile applications and mobile devices is really being talked about now across the board. The idea of cloud computing and actually having the applications hosted somewhere and then accessing it through a mobile device is what everyone is talking about. It's the main theme of the event. So a lot of the security precautions are done on the data center level, and then you can easily access the devices. So people in the region are now more and more looking into the idea of enabling their workforce or sales force out in the public with the mobile devices that will enable them to do their job better, and the security will be done on the data center level mainly.
Mohammed, can you give me a little bit more detail about the cost versus the security? I mean, I know you discussed this before, but imagine a small business, but their employees still need to access this information, but they haven't got the cost to allow this. Do they not install the checks and balances and just take a chance and allow employees to access this information, or no. How do they get around this?
Right. So before doing the mobility rollout, there is a business plan which is made for, and we have been helping a lot of SMEs out here to roll out mobility solutions, right? And one part of this rollout of a mobility business plan is to look at the security concerns. So one of the checks and balances which there's no way that they do a rollout without a minimum kind of security. When I say a minimum security blanket, it will be like a two-factor authentication, password, two-level of password control.
So it's just something like a username, password,
authentications, and all this stuff, right? And then SSL is already there, and then encryption is built in with the application. So that kind of takes care of the security level, basically.
Mohammed, can you tell me a little bit more about asset management in regards to mobile or employee mobility?
Sure. So mobility is playing a very important role in the asset management area, and in order to tie up the entire supply chain from the manufacturers to the warehouse where it is being stored to the place actually where it is being used, we see mobile playing an important role, which are handheld devices which have been enabled with scanning devices, scanning capability, as well as RFID readers. And in order to make sure that a particular asset is being transferred to a location where it actually is required, you need these real-time data capturing at warehouses, and that's what these mobile devices or the enterprise mobility solutions are providing to a lot of companies, for example in the oil and gas sector, for mobilizing their warehouses and all.
Guys, I want to put this question to all of you. It's about absence of usage guidelines. Is there training? Do companies train their employees about the sensitivity of this information, accessing this information? Are those programs there? Are they provided by the companies or provided by the manufacturers of the solutions?
Yeah, sure, I can start with answering. I mean, obviously there is a big, I mean, you were mentioning, that at the mobile device there was not so many threats or so. I would slightly have a different view on that. I mean, yeah, viruses or malware are attacking, whether it's a laptop, whether it's a PC or a mobile device, being a smartphone or a PDA. But I think the major, like in every environment, obviously the major risk is the human risks. Mm-hmm. How many mobile devices are being lost? And that's not a terrorist attack, that's not a virus, that's not a Trojan, whatever. You lose your device, whether it's laptop or a mobile phone, in a taxi, on the train, on the plane. So I guess whether you're an SME or a large enterprise type of organization, you need to obviously educate the users in terms of what type of data they can use from what type of mobile device, and then indeed the security solutions or the various solutions are here to make sure that, in case of a disaster, you can block access of that specific mobile device, you can revocate all the passwords and so on and so forth, because should that device still be connected onto the network via an IPsec embarked client on one of your phone, for example, or whether it's an SSL VPN client and you lose your laptop, you need to be able to actually disconnect that device from the network. And at the end of the day, the intellectual property of a company, whether it's a 10-user company or a 10,000 employee, is exactly the same. Because you could be a small, SMB or any type of organization working with, I don't know, military type of partners. Your data is highly, highly confidential. And if you screw up, you could be in major, major trouble. So you know, the message out there is, yes, you can allow your users to access from a mobile device, from a remote location, key data, key information. But on the other hand, you need to make sure they're aware of the potential risks from accessing that data, and not necessarily from a hacking point of view, but as I said, you know, making sure they don't lose it, telling them that, you know, you need to take care of that small device because you could compromise the company's future eventually.
Just to add to the point, so a lot of people, even though people take care of their devices, eventually they lose it. So now there are technologies available wherein you can do a remote wipe of data. So your intellectual property is there on the device, and the moment the employee calls and says that the device is lost, the IT security admin people can log in remotely and wipe out the data which is there. So that's another level of security which people are using nowadays to protect the intellectual property.
Okay, guys, I just want to give a hypothetical example here. I find somebody's phone, someone's mobile device, and they've accessed through VPN. Now they've dropped the phone. They're still connecting through VPN. I lift the phone. The person walks away, doesn't realize they've lost the device for maybe 20, 30 minutes. That's giving me a 20 or 30 minute window to access their files.
Right.
I mean, is there not some sort of